Good evening to everyone, every viewer. My chairman, C. Anuj Goyalji, the speakers of the day, CA Rakesh Jainji, CA Praveen Jainji, Anuradha Agrawalji, and moderator of the day, CA Atul Agrawalji, in absentia, Vice Chairperson, CA Kamisha Soni ma'am. I, Dr. Amit Agrawal, welcomes you all for this the webinar, very emerging topic on ice-breaking webinar on emerging role of Indian CAs in USA, paving the parts of a research study. The topic so chosen is very pertinent to the research domain, and kudos to my chairman, C. Anuj Goyal, who has given us insight and motivate us to take up this issue for a research study, how Indian CAs can do wonders in the US economy, the world's largest economy. Sir, I expect that through this webinar, some emerging roles of chartered accountants, Indian chartered accountants, would be deliberated. And yesterday, I was in discussion with my chairman. At a lighter side, I would like to discuss with you that a chartered accountant can be farmer also. So my chairman is a farmer. He's growing organic vegetables, food. So this is again a role of a chartered accountant, or to a person who is a member of all the three institutes. He's a chartered accountant, company secretary, cost accountant, and he's MCOM, LLB, TSA, DIRM, but it's a long journey. So I'm not reading out all his qualifications. So, but I can with the beginning of his profile itself, we can see that a chartered accountant can evolve his role in any profession, any economy, or anywhere in the world. As a secretary to Committee for Management, members in business. Last year, I interacted with a chartered accountant, C. Siddharth Jain, who was in the event management company. So, chartered accountant can do any role and anywhere or in any field. So formally, I start this. I welcome all of you for this webinar. I take privilege to introduce my chairman, C. Anuj Goyal. C. Anuj Goyal is the fifth term council member in ICAI. It's his fifth term, and previous to this council of 15 years, he was the chairman of the regional council of Central India, regional council of ICAI, and he served in branches also, and he is a chairman of research committee as well as the committee for management accounting, and he served in various boards of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India and various boards of Government of India also. So not taking much time in his introduction, because he is a person known to every chartered accountant in every corner of the world. So we have the presence of CA Atul Agrawalji. CA Atul Agrawalji, we have entrusted the responsibility on him for moderation this very innovative session on ice breaking webinar on emerging role of Indian CAs in USA economy. So CA Atul Agrawalji is SICASA chairman for the Central India Regional Council. He is a regional council member, and in past also he was chairman for Gautam Budh branch of ICAI, and he has a very dynamic positions in various capacities he served to the institute. So, not taking much time, I request the Honorable Chairman to the committee, C. Anuj Goyalji, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Amit Agrawalji, for your kind words. I welcome our honorable resource persons, our leaders of the profession in the United States of America, our brand ambassadors of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, CA Aradhana Agrawal ji, CA Rakesh Jain ji, CA Praveen Jain ji, and we are of course having the presence of CA Atul Agrawal ji, our regional council member and SICASA chairman, and our team of the research committee, our very dynamic secretary of the research committee, Dr. Amit Agrawal ji, and other officials of the research committee, and dear viewers. I am really very happy to be the part of this very important webinar for the chartered accountants, ice-breaking webinar on emerging role of Indian chartered accountants in United States of America and other parts of the world. And friends, we are very well aware that our members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India are the best accounting professionals across the globe, and there is no second thought about it. and we are having presence in each and every part of the world, whether it is United States of America, whether the Gulf countries or the Australia or New Zealand, everywhere. Practically, that economy, unless or until there is active contribution of the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, it is very difficult for any economy to really go ahead, really progress. Our Honorable Ratan Tata, once addressing a conference, was communicating that the chartered accountants are so important for any trade and industry that, of course, the Tata Group do deploy the MBAs for running the business. But the chartered accountants are required to communicate, to guide the MBAs that how they have to really run the business. So the chartered accountants are having the multifaceted personality. They are having the best of the technical education. They are having the best of the training. They are having the best of the theoretical and practical knowledge. And now in India, at least we can say that when 1st July 2017, the GST was introduced by the Prime Minister Modi. The GST could see the light of the day only due to the efforts of the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Since last 15 years, we were discussing, we were having the workshops, seminars, conferences. Our research was there on the GST, and after 15 years, ultimately, the GST could see the light of the day. And then the implementation, successful implementation was possible only due to the very, very active contribution of the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And believe me, that a lot number of chartered accountants who were never dealing in the indirect taxes came forward. The chartered accountants who were the age of 60 years, 65 years, they learned GST, and now they are the resource persons. They are of the GST and are contributing like anything. So the beauty of the chartered accountant is this, that he can learn like anything. The seminars, the conferences, the workshops, the CP program, which the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India are attending in each and every part of the world, I think no professional can be compared. The way our even the senior chartered accountants, we are having this DISA course, and you must be aware that the members who are in industry or in practice since last more than 40 years, and at that time practically computer was not at all available when they did their the CA, and now not only they are topping that very, very important post qualification course DISA, but they are the faculty. So this is the beauty of the chartered accountants. Very, very senior chartered accountants do put their 100% to see that how they can update themselves on day-to-day basis. So I am really very happy to be with all the viewers of our country, all the viewers who are in other parts of the world, particularly in the United States of America. And we are having the best of the leaders and best of the resource persons, Aradhana ji, Rakesh ji, and Pirveen ji. And friends, for the first time, the research committee has tried its level best that the real research, which is expected from the one of the most important regulator of the country, should be undertaken with the help of the chartered accountants who are, of course, there in the educational field like anything. And but we were not in a position earlier to explore those chartered accountants, to exploit their knowledge. And I'm really very happy to share with all of you that this year we have launched one doctoral scheme for the chartered accountants, young chartered accountants up to the age of 40 years, and we are reimbursing, we are paying 50,000 rupees per month for 3 years for those chartered accountants who are getting themselves registered for the PhD with the UGC recognized university. And in addition to that, a very, very ambitious research project scheme 2020 we have launched. We have already approved around 10 projects, and this scheme is open around the year, and for each and every chartered accountant and the educationist who is even not chartered accountant in each and every part of the world. And we are reimbursing up to 10 lakhs rupees per project. And we want to have those projects which are very, very important for our profession, which are very, very important for our nation. As a regulator, I think it is our responsibility, rather our religion, to see that how we can really help out the government, how we can help out the Prime Minister Modi in this Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. And I am quite confident that our chartered accountants who are there in other parts of the world and who are practically the brand ambassador of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and all three, you are the brand ambassador in the United States of America, but the chairman of the respective chapters also. So I think your role is very, very important, that how the technology can come, how the foreign direct investment can come with the help of all of you in India, and how we can move towards the Atmanirbhar mission of the Prime Minister Modi. And you must be aware that this time for the first time, we have launched the international awards, International Research Award, and the president of IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, is the chairman of the jury. It's a very, very powerful jury, and the research done in each and every part of the world will be eligible for this scheme. You must be very well aware. We have communicated to each and every chartered accountant through electronic mail, also through our website, also through our journal, also. And we want to have this program a grand program somewhere in the month of November, December, along with our international conference. And I am quite confident that all of you will certainly see that the best of the research project can come for this award, international award, which is very, very prestigious award. And I think our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India will be placed in a better way in other parts of the world through this International Research Award. So I will not be taking your further time, as we are very, very eager to hear our honorable resource persons. So I once again welcome all our honorable resource persons and all the viewers. Thank you very much, friends.
Over to moderator of the day, C. Atul Agarwal.
Thank you, Amit ji. Respected Chairman C. Anuj Goyal ji, Vice Chairperson in absentia C. Kimisha Soni ji, Resource Person respected C. A. Praveen Jain ji, C. A. Rakesh Jain ji, C. A. Radha Agarwal ji, who are there today to educate us, to guide us on the topic which has been chosen by the committee, ice-breaking webinar on emerging role of Indian CAs in USA. I believe most of the young chartered accountants are nowadays looking for the opportunities worldwide, and today's webinar shall be very much useful for all of them. As the topic is very much relevant, and as I was discussing with Aradhana ji, and as per her, all the resource person tried to organize 2 virtual CPE meetings in India. One was in Nagpur and another was in Delhi. But I believe most of the chartered accountant could not attend because of the limitation in a virtual CPE meeting. So the committee took the decision for organizing this as a webinar, so that all members present in India or outside India or across the globe can take a benefit of this particular webinar. First of all, my sincere gratitude to all the resource persons who are there in US early in the morning, because in India, yes, it is the evening at 5 o'clock, but in US, I believe it may be a morning at around 7 or 7:30, and all resource persons are ready to give the deliberation on such a wonderful topic. So friends, without taking much of the time, I would like to introduce your all 3 resource persons who are going to deliver us on a topic like how a chartered accountant can play a vital role not only into the US market but globally. So for starting this webinar, I would like to introduce first CA Rakesh Jain. Most importantly, all the resource persons are chartered accountant and CPA both. So I am introducing initially CA Rakesh Jain. CA Rakesh Jain is originally from Delhi. He is experienced and dedicated and committed CPA and chartered accountant with exceptional troubleshooting and persuasive skills, result-oriented and challenge-driven, with over 29 years of experience, international experience in corporate accounting, international taxation and compliances, revenue recognition, external and internal audit, financial reporting, analysis of financial statements. He served in various executive, managerial and CFO positions with all big 4 companies over three contentions. Currently running his own CPA practice in Houston, USA under Rakesh Jain CPA PC. Professionally, he is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India since July 1990. He did his graduation and he did his law from Delhi University. He also qualified CS intermediate exam somewhere in June 1994, and after that he qualified CPA in December 2005 from USA. He's having lots of volunteer experience also. He was co-chair for Associated Chamber of Commerce, SHM, USA chapter for the year 2010-11. He served International Affairs Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India 2008-9 and 9-10. He established USA chapter of ICAI in the year 2008-9. He is author of various books and articles as well. So if I start reading his profile, it's a long profile, and I believe the things which he has achieved, it is really commendable, and I'm sure we are going to get delighted with the deliberation which is going to give us, and that would be useful for each one of us. So now I would like to invite CA Rakesh Jain ji for his deliberation into this particular webinar. Over to CA Rakesh Jain ji. Sir, I believe your mic.
Sir, please unmute. Rakesh ji, please unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Yes.
Good evening, CA Atul Agarwal ji, Honorable CA Anuj Goyal ji, CA Amit Agarwal ji, and all my respected friends across the globe. This is definitely a matter of indeed pleasure and privilege for me to be with all of you here and share my own observations and my experiences with you. My co-speakers, CA Praveen Jain ji and CA Aradhana Agarwal ji, will be deliberating on some technical issues. And then I thought that since they will be covering up the technical part of that, I should put some insight about the immigration things, because if somebody wants to be in the US, because some of our young chartered accountant friends, particularly, they might be aspirants to come in the US and deliver their best. So they might be having the trouble in understanding the rules and regulations and how the law structure is here, so that they can understand it well before planning out something for the United States. So I would like to share some slides on that one. So one by one, I will go through that and share my views on it. And I will just give a little insight on that what should and how they should plan out their actions if they really want to settle in the United States. Yeah. Can you see my slides here?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is basically US has got the various categories under which one can really immigrate to the United States, and one of them is family-based immigration. Other is the lottery system, which I will change because we are talking about our own profession. So it will be the employment-based immigration. So this is what all I will be covering up in my deliberation. And before I start further, let me tell you that all the information which I will be sharing, and I put it up in the slides to follow here, this is generalized and it is not intended to constitute any legal advice, because in the United States, by law, only an attorney is authorized to give any legal advice. This is just for the informative purposes, and one should not infer any legal advice out of it. If somebody wants to really know the real legal structure on that or legal advice on it, so I highly recommend that they should consult an immigration attorney on that one. So please, in any way, please do not constitute it as a legal advice. So this is just a small disclaimer on that one. Now the very first question is that because US is particularly considered as the market for the IT people, so many people might be having the doubts in that whether as a chartered accountant, do they have any immigration opportunity to the USA under employment-based criteria for Indian chartered accountants. So my answer for that one will be yes. There are plenty of such options which one can avail and really can get settled in the United States under employment-based criteria. But before I go further, I would like to emphasize here that if you really plan to come to the United States, please work it out the plans for the long term. If you are thinking that something will happen overnight or you will be here just for 1 or 2 years or quickly you can attain some permanent residencies, that is not going to happen. So now let us see one by one that what are the criteria under which one can really settle and come to the United States and really immigrate here. First of all, the green card processing once talks about is that how I can attain the green card. The green card is processed under 3 categories, which are known as employment-based EB1, EB2, and EB3. There are different criteria under which the person can attain the green cards. So EB1, EB2, and EB3, they have the structure based on the experience, expertise, and the qualification which one person has got it. And for attaining the green card under these processes, one has to go through the 3 channels. One is the labor certification. Labor certification is basically that the employer is not able to get the talent which that particular person has. So he cannot get it locally. So that is why one of the reasons he is looking for that talent from outside or from overseas. The second is the I-140 stage, and also known as the immigration petition. Once the labor certification is done, then the immigration petition comes up, and that is I-140 stage. And third is the adjustment of status. I will be speaking a little more on that one by one. And EB1 category is exempt from labor certification. Why is that? Why is that so? So that also I will speak up a little on it. EB1 category is basically for the people who demonstrate that they have the extraordinary ability in science, arts, education, or athletics through sustained national and international acclaim. So this is the topmost priority for the people that who have got extraordinary ability. Every country definitely wants to attract that talent and wants them to be the citizen of the country. So this is the one biggest criteria under which one can get the immigration. And the second is under this category, the second type of the people is if anybody is transferred to a US entity by its parent company or subsidiary company overseas on a permanent basis. But the minimum condition for that, the person to be transferred here should be in a managerial or executive capacity. So if these conditions are fulfilled, then the person is eligible to be processed under EB1 category. Since EB1 category is already a demonstrated fact that the person has got some extraordinary ability, so there is no point of having the labor certification. So this is one of the reasons why the labor certification is not done for the EB1 category. So the person who is going to have the green card does not have to demonstrate to the government that the person of his ability cannot be attained or cannot be found in the country locally, because that is proven that it cannot be found. This person has got some special talent with him. EB2 category is for the professionals who have got the advanced degree and they must possess at least a 5 years of progressive work experience. So the minimum criteria here is that there should be 2 ingredients which need to be fulfilled. One is that the person must be having the bachelor degree, and secondly is the 5 years progressive work experience. But the bachelor's degree here has got a catch. In US, we have 4 years bachelor course, while in India, we have 3 years. So if we think that based on our bachelor's degree in India, we will be equivalent to US bachelor's degree, that is not the case, unfortunately. So you need to cover up that 1 year gap. How can you cover up that 1 year gap? Is by taking up the post-graduation courses, the master's course if you take it, so then you can cover up. But in case if you think that you have got the 2 bachelors in the different streams, like one is the science, which we call BSc, and the other is the BCom, the commerce side. So the 6 years experience you have got, but this will not be counted at the 6 years experience. It will still remain as 3 years experience or the bachelor's degree, because the second degree which you attained, that has to be the single source degree, which means the second degree, the minimum qualification for getting into that course is based upon the first degree. But in the case of BSc and BCom, that is not the case. But if you go for LLB or if you go for the master's after doing your bachelor's, that certainly fulfills the criteria, because the second degree is definitely based on the first degree. Unless and until you attain the bachelor's for that, you cannot get the admissions in master's. So this is the criteria one need to be very careful about. So that is how you can cover up the gap, and then you will be on par with the US bachelor's degree. So you have the 4 years equivalent bachelor's in US, and of course for all these purposes you need to get your credentials evaluated. There are some authorized agencies in the United States who does the valuation of the credentials, and they will tell you that on what criteria they are on par with US. So this is one of the things which you have to start with if you are planning for that one. The other is the EB3. EB3 is that you need to have at least 2 years of job experience or training that meets the job requirements specified on the labor certification. It means the labor certification which you are going to get it done through your employer, because everything has to be through the employer. You cannot do it on your own except the EB1 category. So for getting your green card, you are always at the mercy of the employer. The employer can only initiate your application. You cannot do it on your own. So the employer has to demonstrate that the type of the job he has offered to the person has at least 2 years of experience, that person who is having that job, or training, and that meets the job requirement. And of course, he is not able to get that talent locally. So this is one of the reasons that he is going for the labor certification and is requesting the labor department to allow him to import the talent from outside. As I mentioned, the labor certification, the very first thing is that the employer must demonstrate before the Department of Labor that the education, experience, expertise, caliber that the foreign national has got, he is not able to find locally. And this is a very tedious and comprehensive exercise which the employer has to undergo. So first he has to ask the local market through various channels, that is not limited to only advertisement, through print media, but also by various listed sites by the government, that he has to run the advertisement for 3-4 weeks. And then not only that, he has to put up the notice on the notice board of the company if it has got some, for at least 1 month or so. And if he has not got any application, or whatever the applications he has got, he has to submit it to the labor department and rule them out or weed them out that this is not the type of the people he is looking for. This is completely different. So even if one single application comes which meets the criteria, the labor certification will be rejected. So here the immigration attorneys are of very importance for you, because they know how to draft the application and how based on the talent you have that, so that you have the better chances to get your labor certification done. So immigration attorneys are the perfect people that you have to go through them, and they will draft out everything for you. So once the application is put up there, then it takes approximately 6 to 9 months for the labor department to certify it or to reject it. But this period time frame which I have given, 6 to 9 months, is just based on the recent estimates now, but it keeps on fluctuating depending upon the labor or the number of applications which the labor department is having pending with them. So it keeps on changing then. The second stage is immigration petition, that is I-140 stage. It is also known that why it is I-140, because this is the type of the form under which the immigration petition is done. Once the labor certification is done, now the employer has to put up the application for the immigration of the person, because your status in the country is alien. So now you need to immigrate to the country. So this is what all application is about, and it takes approximately 6 months time. And again, let me tell you that this is also based on employer. If employer decides that I don't want to put up the immigration petition, because when I put up the application for the certification of the labor, that time I needed the person, but now in between 6 or 9 months, by the time the application is approved by Department of Labor, my circumstances have changed and I don't need to this person anymore, so he can reject it. The employee has no right to push the employer that no, since you did my labor certification, you have to go for the immigration petition. So it is absolutely in the discretion of the employer whether he wants to go or not. So one has to be very careful about it, that if they want to get their green card done through their employer under employment-based category, they are always on their mercy for the green card. So this is the drawback, I should say, that of the system. And USCIS is the agency that is a United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, which processes the application and allows the immigration to be done. So it takes about 6 months for the processing of the application. But if somebody puts up some extra money for the premium processing, then it can be done within 15 working days. And the cost for that, it is between employer and employee that who wants to bear the cost. This is unlike the H1 cost. H1 is the work visa, which is given by the, again, United States CAI, by Department of Labor, for a short-term period. That is for 3 years at a single stretch, which can be renewed for another period of 3 years. So after 6 years, if the person, unless his green card application has been put in, then he has to go back to his country of origin. He cannot get his H1 renewed further unless his case is still under the green card petition and it has not been adjudicated yet. So if the case is pending, then he can keep on renewing his H1 application, because his application is pending with the Department of Labor or with USCIS, and he will get the renewal done for every 3 years until the application is decided. What is the priority date? Priority date in the green card processing is very important thing, and it controls the application. priority date is basically the date on which you put up your application before the Department of Labor for processing. So this date controls your time when you put up the application, because every month Department of Labor provides the cutoff date in a visa bulletin for the green card, because every green card which is issued has a visa number on that one. So they have to decide, they have to control the total inflow of the green card people here. So they decide that based on the number of visas which are limited for a particular nation, for a particular category, there are different parameters for that one. And for every category, it is 7,500 visas for any category for EB1, EB2, and EB3. And unfortunately, Indians are too many there in the queue, so Indians don't get that many green cards as the other nationality people do get, because of the completely sheer number of the cases. So the priority date, unless your date is current, you cannot get the green card, period, regardless of that how long you have been in the queue. So that sometimes the wait is even 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And currently it is up to 50 years for EB3 category, which means that today if you put up your application for green card as Indian citizen, so your turn will come after 50 years. But you need not to be disheartened on that, because these laws are always subject to change, and let us hope that in near future sometimes it will change, and the visa numbers which have not been exhausted, not utilized in the past, but they have become time barred because the Department of Labor could not utilize all that visa numbers because of its workforce or inefficiency or not, whatever the reasons were there. And the Congress passes the bill for that, for the recapture of those numbers, or allowing that the per nation limit is not to be considered, then probably your case will be on the very fast track and you can get your green card quite early, or within months or even years at most time. But the queue will not be that long in that case. But this is all political, so we should not comment on that one. But right now, as we are talking, the reality is that the queue for the Indians is too long for that one. So this is all about the priority date. So priority date is always, you need to keep it in mind, what is your priority date, so that you can trace your case and think about it, how long it is going to take for you. You can estimate that, or you can talk to your immigration attorney for, based on his experience, how long the wait will be, and he can expect the green card or cannot expect in his lifetime even. Now the last stage is adjustment of status. So now first you are done with the labor certification. Now you are done with I-140 application also. Your application is approved after 6 months or 9 months, whatever the time USCIS takes. Now what is adjustment of status? Your status in the country is non-immigrant, because you are on H1, and H1 visa is the temporary. Now you are done with the petition for the immigration, which means that allows you to be the permanent resident of the country. But you are not done yet. Now you need to change your status from non-immigrant to immigrant. This is the most critical and the biggest challenge it poses for any non-immigrant person who is seeking the green card. Because adjustment of status application or I-485 applications are controlled by cutoff date, that is the priority date. Until and unless your dates are current, you cannot put up your application for I-485. You will have to be in the queue and you will have to keep on waiting when your turn will come. But in the meantime, as I told you earlier, if your H1 visa, that is a non-immigrant visa, if that is expiring and you still want to be in the country, so the USCIS will have to renew your H1 visa, because they haven't decided on your application yet. And you have the right to be in the country and work legally on the continuity basis as non-immigrant, because the adjudication of your application hasn't been done yet. So this is the beauty of that one, that if you want to really work in the country, you can do that, even if the wait is for 20 years for the green card or for putting up your I-485 application. But the biggest drawback under this category is that for any reason, if your employer shuts down the company or kicks you out of the job, sacks you, or you leave the job, then your whole process of the green card, that collapses. So then if you want to start up your application again through the new employer, then again you have to go all the nine yards. So you have to start right from the labor certification. But in some cases now the department has allowed that you can import your priority date in the new case as well. But the wait will be still the same. You cannot have any shortcuts on that one. And for the purposes of putting up the nationality under the bigger categories or umbrella, the USCIS has broken it up based on the number of immigrants or the non-immigrant people who come in the country. That is, of course, India is at the topmost. Then China mainland also. These days, I don't see that there are too many Chinese people are coming in now because their priority date suggests, which I will be covering up in the next slide, that is quite close to the current date, unlike Indian dates. Then the Philippines and El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and then another is Mexico and the rest of the world. So the people who are under the rest of the world, they are better off than the other nationality people, some of them, and definitely Indians are the worst affected in that case one, because there are too many non-immigrant Indians who come here and then later on they come in the pipeline for getting the green card. So that is one of the reasons why the queue is that long. Then based on the availability of the green card numbers, cutoff dates may inch forward or even retrogress also. Every year, let me just take you a step back about the H1 visa. Every year, Department of Labor issues 65,000 H1 visas, that is non-immigrant visas, and another 20,000 H1 visas for the people who have done the masters from the US universities. So any nationality people can apply for that, and generally it is the Indians who apply for that when most of the visas are exhausted by them. So these Indians, if not all, many of them, or I think I should say 80 or 90% of those people, they eventually go for the green card through their employer. But what happens in the visa, in the green card visa is, when you apply for the green card visas, so every member of the family who is seeking the green card, he has to get the visa number. For example, if there are 4 members in the family, 2 kids and husband and wife, so they need to have 4 green card visa numbers. Unlike when initially the H1 visa was taken, this exhausted only one H1 visa number. That was the main person who was seeking the employment in the US. So the US immigration data suggests that for every H1 visa, there are at least 2.2 visa numbers of the green card that are required for every H1 visa. So if out of 65,000 H1 visas, if let us say there were only 40,000 Indians who were seeking the green card, who got the H1 visa, so they will be seeking more than 80,000 or 100,000 green card visa numbers for that one. So this is the main culprit for why the queue for Indians is too long for getting the green cards. And if the limit is 7,500, then you can imagine how many years the wait will be unless there has been a change in the law to recapture the numbers which were lost, or to increase the numbers, or to get away with the cap on the nationality of the people. So this is all about the adjustment of status. Another very important thing is the 21st Century Act, American Competitiveness 21st Century Act, also known as AC21. When you get your turn and you apply for I-485 application, adjustment of status, it doesn't mean that the green card will come to you overnight. Still, it takes some time for the processing. It may take 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months, or 2 months, depending upon how long the queue is for the pending 485 application. But in between, if for some reason the green card numbers have retrogressed, which means the priority date has retrogressed and has gone behind your current, gone behind or past your backward, has gone backward from your priority date, then it means your 485 application cannot be adjudicated. Though you have already filed it, but it will remain pending until your priority date becomes current again. So what will happen in that case? The USCIS will be sitting on I-485 application. They will say that, guy, you filed your I-485 application when the date was current, but now we cannot process it because it has gone backward and your date is not current right now. So AC21 Act is a relief for that one. So President Clinton signed it in late 90s, and as per this act, if your application has been outstanding for 180 days, you can move forward with your career. You can change the employment without affecting any part of your green card. Basically, you pocketed in the entire green card process in your pocket. And even if at this point your employer for any reason wants to withdraw the case, he cannot do that. You are in the safe zone. But the only condition is that the job which you are seeking, that has to be within the parameters of the labor certification done. If it was for accounting or it was for finance, then you cannot seek then you cannot do any other business, or you cannot take up any other employment which goes beyond these areas. So you need to be careful about that one. But The beauty is that now you are not stuck in your career, and you can move on with your career, and you can develop yourself as a better professional. You can seek better salary, you can seek better job, you can move to the better company. So all these things which were holding you back to move in when you were not able to file I-485 application. So this is about AC21. And guys, this is the priority date which I took out from the July 2020 visa bulletin, which is the current one. So every month Department of Labor issues the visa bulletin which lists down the various priority dates, and as you can see, for the first employment based category, which is EB1, India's current date is 1st August 2017, which means all the people who put up the application before 1st August 2017, only they can file I-485 application, or their green card cases will be processed. Similarly, for the second and third, the 15th August 2009 and 1st February 2010 are the dates. Until last few years, I saw that the first category generally used to be current. For many, many years, I saw that for at least 10, 12 years at a row, that every month it used to be current. But now, because of the growth in the business between the two countries, a lot of Indian companies are sending their executive or managerial staff to US. So because of that, now the limit, which is 7,500 maximum under EB1 for a particular nation, so that is exhausted. So that is why the queue has come up here. Otherwise that was not there initially. But second and third categories always have got some backlog in that one, and one day cutoff date going backward may affect even hundreds or thousands of cases. So don't think that if you're just behind by one day, so it will come up in the next month or in the next to next month. It may still take many months for you to inch forward by one day. So as early as possible, my suggestion is, if you come to US, you get non-immigrant visa, please go for the green card processing immediately and get your priority date blocked. Because the delay you do that, it will cost you many months or many years even. Now, very important thing is what the US chapters can do here for our professionals back at home. So the journey started in US in year 2008 when the first chapter of our ICAI was set up in the United States. And I was very fortunate that my co-speaker, C.A. Radna Agarwal, was with me right from its inception when the idea came up that we should set up the chapter here. Until then, we did not have any platform or any forum where we could unite, share our views, and professionally exchange our ideas and help each other. So that was the starting point that we wanted to build up the chapter here. So it is a sort of the bridge between the people who are sitting in India and the people who have got some knowledge or something about US in US, or within the two professions within the US also. And I'm really thankful to Aradhana, whatever the support she gave me that time, and we brought the chapter in existence from nowhere that time. And that time our institute's president, Shri C.A. Jain, he supported us a lot, and during his tenure we opened up the first chapter in the United States. Since then we have come a long way now, and now the San Francisco chapter has come up 3 years back. And now just recently on 4th of July, we opened up 5 rep offices also at different parts of the United States, Chicago, New England, Houston, Dallas, and Washington, D.C. So if anybody needs some information, my recommendation to those people is that please contact any of these chapters, and all the office bearers will be more than happy to guide you, to answer your questions, and to navigate your career path and whatever the information you seek, which you may not be clear about the US. So these chapters will be highly useful for you, that one. Now, initially, as I mentioned to you friends, that if you want to be in the US or you want to be part of that professionally, then it's up to you, because it has to be a long haul. And I wrote an article on that one in September 2008 journal. If somebody wants to see that one, so you can refer to that one, along with one of my chapter's colleague who was my vice chairman that time during my tenure, C.A. Gagan Gujral. So both of us wrote a paper on that one, which was, after that we got a lot of questions, and the people, they really appreciated that it was quite informative. So if you want to see that, of course the numbers put up there will not hold any good now, but it will give you some idea about that one. And I will be more than happy if somebody wants to contact me also offline for getting any information on the immigration. But the more information or the legal advice, of course, can be obtained only through an immigration attorney. So you have to decide that whether you have to be united or you want to be untied. So it is all about the placement of I, which is you, that how you want to be with the US. But if you're planning anything, my serious suggestion is that please look it into that as the long-term planning, not the short-term planning. This is all from my side, friends, and now I will hand it over to CA Atul Agarwalji, the moderator, and I will pass it on to my co-speakers for the further discussions on the technical side of the webinar. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, sir. You have explained the way. It was really very informative, and I'm sure the members who might be watching this webinar, they will be benefited out of the deliberation which you have given as of now.
I welcome Kimisha Soni ma'am, our honorable Vice Chairperson of the Research Committee. She was there in another webinar. So on behalf of the Research Committee and all the viewers, I once again welcome Kimisha Soni ji, honorable Vice Chairperson of the Research Committee.
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome you all in this webinar. Thank you.
For further, before starting the session of the another resource person, CA Praveen Jain ji, I would like to give a brief about CA Kimisha Soni ji, who is the Vice Chairperson of this committee. CA Kimisha Soni ji is a Vice Chairperson of this research committee and a Chairperson of Ethical Standard Board. And she is a convener of Women Members Empowerment Directorate of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as well. She is also a chairperson of Women Leadership Committee of South Asia Federation of Accountants of SAARC countries. So she is having various other positions also in various committees of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And I believe she is the first chairperson of CIRC of ICAI as well, as I was just reading in the profile of Aradhana ji also. So that I'll come on later on while her turn will come for the deliberation. Now, for proceeding further, I would like to give a brief about the profile of CA Praveen Jain ji, who is another resource person of this today's deliberation. CA Praveen Jain ji is a certified public accountant licensed in the state of Maryland, USA, and a qualified chartered accountant from India. He is also an IRS certifying acceptance agent in India and US. As the president and co-founder of the Seva Group, he is engaged in providing various services that extend from tax planning and preparation of individuals for full service accounting, bookkeeping and tax preparation for businesses by establishing an export of service unit, Seva Enterprises Limited in Ajmer, a small city in Rajasthan, India. He is presenting opportunities to CA members. The unit currently engages 18 professionals, of which 8 are the members of the ICAI. He commenced his career as a practicing chartered accountant in Mumbai. He served there from 1986 to 2000, and after which he moved to the US. He was engaged as a senior financial analyst with Johns Hopkins Hospital while he pursued his certified public accountant license. His immense and well-rounded experience of 35 years in the spheres of international taxation, accounting and information system allows him a unique insight into his client's business expansion and development endeavors overseas. His areas of expertise include international taxation, expat and immigration tax, foreign asset reporting for clients having intersecting compliance requirements in both US and India. He is a member of he is member as well as a part of the executive committees of several recognized social and religious organizations, both in India and the US. He has volunteered in many programs and himself organized the same as well as for the benefits of the needy and unprivileged people. I'm sure we all are going to get benefit from the deliberation of CA Praveen Jain ji. So now over to CA Praveen Jain ji for his deliberation.
Yeah, thank you, Atulji. And just I want to share the. Can you see the screen?
No.
Blank, sir. Now it's okay.
Yeah, it's there. Now it's there.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And just to there is the screen in the green, some in the middle of the screen. If you want to see in the full mode, then you can do that. Each and everyone has to select that. So just thank you Atul Agarwal ji, Anuj Goyal ji and Kimisha Soni ji and the research committee of ICAI and my fellow speaker Rakesh ji and Aradhana ji and fellow members. Just a second here. So my screen can change. Sorry, it's for a technical difficulty. I could not. Yeah, I have seen as mentioned by Honorable Anuj Goyal ji about the research, how the research, this committee of the ICAI to various topics in professional economy. Rakesh ji has already given how to you migrate, but which topic you want to take? So I have selected this OECD and emerging issues across the globe and few illustrative cases. And so a brief on OECD and BEPS. I will discuss the BEPS package, BEPS and Indian tax laws and emerging issues. Couple of examples I will take. So I would like to first begin by sharing an example of respected personality, Dr. Deepak Jain, who served as an ex-dean of the renowned Kellogg School of Business and Marketing professor of INSEAD. He is currently served as an independent director of the board of Reliance Industries Limited since 2006 and currently co-president and global advisor of China-Europe International Business School. Dr. Jain was born in the small town of the Tejpur, Assam, and did his bachelor in Tejpur College and masters from Guwahati University, and he became the professor of statistics in Guwahati University from 78 to 1983. During this period, due to the social unrest and political agitation, his university had closed down for 6 months. He was ideal and started going to university library. There he studied and prepared some notes and research paper, and then he started to send to the various professors in the United States, and professor by name of Dr. Frank Bass came across his research, and he was so impressed that Dr. Jain work that Dr. Jain was invited to Dr. Bass to study and finish his PhD under him. Upon completion of his PhD, Dr. Jain became a marketing professor of Dean Kellogg and one of the top business MBA of the world. So from the statistics to the top dean of the top, that is from the small village of the Tejpur. So my point is that like right now in the current situation, and the people, our young chartered accountants, with the help of the institute, can do some research and send the papers and can get learn from this example. At that time there was no internet, nothing, and just he has to prepare, print, mail it physically to the various universities. Now these days, one click, 1 second, you can take miracles. So this is the taking to thought of the further. I would like to briefly discuss on interesting area of research, OECD, BEPS, and how the domestic law work on that. So many of you guys just listening, what is the OECD, what is the BEPS? So it's a very interesting, like more than 125 countries and jurisdictions are taking part of an equal footing of the inclusive framework of BEPS, and about 85 countries and jurisdictions have signed the multilateral convention to implement tax treaty related measures to prevent BEPS. So what is first OECD? So OECD is formed about 60 years ago. Next year is the 60th birth year, and mission to promote policies that will improve the economy and social well-being of people around the world. Currently, OECD 37 member countries span the globe, including United States, and India is one of the key partners of OECD. OECDs have a partner of G20 and BEC project. India is also a member of the G20 to enhance the tax transparency, address tax avoidance, promote tax policies for strong and sustainable inclusive growth, and support tax as a tool for development. The various in 2013 they started this packages in launched this with the base erosion and profit sharing, the BEPS, and BSPS 15 measures was delivered in October 15, endorsed by OECD Council and G20 finance minister and leaders. So after that, base erosion, as mentioned, the profit shifting, what is that also? So basically refer to the tax planning strategies that exploit gaps and mismatch in tax rules to artificially shift profit to a location with no or low tax rates and no or little economic activity. That's why in the world, many of big companies having a lot of profit and they are not paying the taxes, that's an individual person is paying more than that. So these, due to this having a money power, they can take the research and analysis, help of the professional, and try to reduce. So the BPS and the OECD, they try to reduce that this anomalies to avoid, and how to facilitate and don't facilitate the shifting of corporate profit away from where the real economy activity and value creation has taken place. So what is these 15 actions? So these are the 15 actions divided in three: coherence and substance and transparencies. So those are related to the transfer pricing, prevent treaty abuse, avoidance of permanent establishment status, and some of these are limited on interest deduction, control finance corporation rules, preventing treaty abuse to avoid double non-taxation. So 8, 9, 10, as I mentioned, of the TP related to the TP and intellectual property, and recently this digital economy is also action point 1. So these 94 nations has already signed this multilateral instruments, and 4 nations have provided their consent to sign. Same India has already signed in 2017 and also filed a ratification in June 25th, 2019. One interesting fact that which I would like to share you is that the budget of OECD and BEPS project is Euro 386 million. It's about 483 or something USD. The magnitude of this budget every year is self-explanatory as how to consequent this matter is. So in the research side, if any like India has also adopted few as that we'll discuss in few slides. So first I would like to discuss about the BEPS and the US tax laws, how they are working. So they started a country by country reporting. So it's required by certain US persons that are ultimately parent entity of a US multinational enterprise group with the annual revenue of the preceding reporting period of 850 million or more. The changes are intended to improve the efficacy of US tax provisions that seek to prevent US corporations from inappropriately reducing their liability to US tax by excessive borrowing from related parties situated in jurisdictions that have a lower rate of tax, or a practice known as earning stripping. The same way, the objective behind the base erosion and anti-abuse tax, that's Action Plan 3, that are the subject to US net basic tax above a specified threshold from eroding the tax liability by means of transactions with related foreign related parties that generate base erosion payments. Be it impose on additional US tax liability on any person subject to it. It can also apply even if the taxpayer subject to it would otherwise. So this is the form of 8975, how the interchanging the countries, country by country reporting, like US is developed, and they like the required taxpayer has to file this information, and you can see that how much data is now sharing among the members. So you have to tell that unrelated party, related party revenues, profit, income tax, how much is paid here and there, and then constitute entities resident in that which tax jurisdiction, and the tax identification number of that jurisdiction. So both the governments can share or then analyze things, how the tax, if anyone is doing any less tax payment. Same way, I would like to discuss here about the BEPS and the Indian tax laws. So India is the first country which has imposed based on Action Plan 1 and equalizations levy, and it provides for an levy 6% amount of the consideration for specified services received or received, and like taking into consideration the potential of the new digital economy and the rapid evolving nature of business operation, it becomes necessary to address the challenges in terms of taxation of such digital transaction. So if you have a permanent establishment, so in India, like you have to pay through GST, or if otherwise you have to pay this equalization levy. So 6% at least you have to pay. That's first of it across the world. India is the first who started this digital tax, basically you can say equalization levy. Same way, India has a limitation on interest deduction. Many of the examples are there, like they used to try that one country has a loan and they are getting the deduction there, and another country is like it's not a loan and they consider as a dividend income whatever they received, and they are not paying any tax there also. So these type of anomalies they try to reduce, and by disallowing of interest expenses paid in excess of 30% of EBITDA, or interest paid or payable to associate enterprise, whichever is less. I would like to run a small video. Let me see. And basically this will give idea of what is BEP and what is, and you can imagine that how much material is available in the OECD, and many of other research people is running this, helping this society.
The fight against tax evasion and avoidance has been a major success story of the G20. Following the economic crisis in 2008, financial scandals revealed the depth of offshore tax evasion.
Sir, it's only audio, not video.
Also allowing profits to be artificially yet legally shifted to low or no tax
audio is there, video is not there.
The G20 took...
Oh, okay.
No problem.
So let me
We can go ahead with the audio, no problem.
Okay, just a second.
Action on both fronts, and the OECD delivered through 2 inclusive and impactful projects, leading to the implementation of global tax transparency standards and the OECD G20 base erosion and profit shifting package. The G20 is committed to supporting developing countries in implementing these projects through technical assistance. Since 2009, 2 tax transparency standards have been implemented globally through the Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes, which includes more than 150 member countries and jurisdictions working on an equal footing. In 2008, only about 40 agreements were in place for tax information exchange. Today, there are over 5,000. In 2017 and 2018, 90 jurisdictions started automatically exchanging information with tax administrations, receiving data on more than 47 million offshore accounts with a value of 4.9 trillion euros. In anticipation of this exchange, almost 500,000 individuals came forward to disclose their hidden assets. 95 billion euros has been recovered so far, and it's only the beginning. Early estimates also indicate that this system has reduced foreign-owned offshore bank deposits by 20 to 25%. In 2013, OECD and G20 countries took joint action and developed a package of 15 measures to tackle tax avoidance caused by BEPS. At the time, the OECD estimated the costs of tax avoidance by multinational companies to range from $100 to $240 billion. Today, through the OECD G20 Inclusive Framework on BEPS, over 125 countries and jurisdictions are working together to monitor the implementation of the BEPS measures. Significant milestones have been reached so far. 2,000 agreements are in place for country-by-country exchanges, allowing tax administrations to have a real view of where multinationals keep their assets, earn their income, and pay or don't pay their taxes. And a multilateral convention is paving the way to closing loopholes in thousands of tax treaties worldwide. So what's next? Today, the major priority is to resolve the tax challenges arising from digitalization. Work is advancing to reach a consensus-based, long-term solution by the end of 2020, building on two pillars which will explore fundamental changes to the international tax system. Only through coordinated global action can we ensure a fairer and more sustainable international tax environment.
Yeah, just a second. Let me resume my.
It's already there, sir.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. I think another video is running, so let me stop that. Just a second. Sorry for interruption.
The OECD G20 BEPS project delivers an answer to a key question posed by the rise of the digital economy.
Where is that now?
Where should value-added tax be paid during online transactions? Today, when a consumer in New Zealand, for instance, pays 50 New Zealand dollars to download an app or a video game from a New Zealand-based e-tailer, VAT is assessed at normal rates of 15% or 7.5 New Zealand dollars. If the consumer in New Zealand buys the app or the game from an online platform tax resident in, say, Singapore,
let me disconnect
for the same $50, VAT is not collected.
Yes,
this is decidedly unfair for the domestic e-tailer, who suffers unfair competition from offshore vendors.
I'm sorry for that. Yeah, just a second.
The strong growth of the digital economy also means that governments are potentially losing billions of dollars
annually.
It's a
Mac, so I'm not familiar with this, so that's
the issue. Tight budgets. What's the solution? The BEPS project will level the playing field. Building on the OECD International VAT GST guidelines, it recommends that tax for online transactions be collected in the country where the customer lives. It provides mechanisms to enable countries to do so in an efficient manner.
Now it's okay. Renji, now it's okay.
Yeah, so now you can see that screen?
No, screen sharing is not there.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, now it's there. Yes, it is there.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm very sorry this technical disturbance. Actually, Blue Jean is different with the Zoom.
Yeah. So, what we can do, Atulji, in the meanwhile, we can have the deliberation of Aradhana ji.
No, now it's done. So now you can see that?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, some emerging issues in cross border.
Yeah, so
Round table
basically I was
intellectual
here.
property. Yeah. Now it's yeah, BEPS and the Indian tax laws. Yeah,
Yeah, we covered this, and I was here. So the sorry
yeah.
again for this
No problem,
disturbance.
no problem, no problem.
So CA have a emerging and a very important role to play in this new era, and it's like every action is like you can do research. Not only one person and many person can do in one action point, because it's all over the world and across, and India and US is very much in this game. So, gaining knowledge to deliver high quality services in an essential element of CA profession. This can be achieved by constant upgradation and research and continuation professional education. So, as I can say that Sanskrit language is a mother of many languages, and similarly, if you know BEPS and OECD framework, then you will understand of international tax law concept and logic behind it. So I will like to now cover the four some emerging issues: cross-border, like round tripping, intellectual property, and cross-country reporting, which I have already touched some ways, and international tax compliances. Round tripping. So what is a round tripping? Round tripping is where this is a very much RBI is involved in this. Like they have seen that money is from India is going back and coming through different channels. So they are very strict. They are compounding many companies. So refer to money that leaves the country through various channels and makes its way back into the country, often as a foreign investment. So round tripping is often done through a series of transactions that don't have any substantial commercial purpose. So I will real life example here, that a young entrepreneur, IITian or a doctor combinedly, and they have got idea to centralize management of the medical records, and they presented this idea to the US venture, and the US venture liked that idea, and they ready to invest of 1 million funding. So now US venture capitalists require these Indian entrepreneurs to opt for a structure where they float a US parent company and is in turn operate its business through an Indian subsidiary company. Most of the time, the sole purpose of the foreign parent company is to serve as a special vehicle, a special purpose vehicle or funding vehicle for a wholly owned subsidiary in India. But these structures get trapped by the RBI under the charge of round tripping. So the institute and the research committee can find a way to instead of making a lot of issue after that, like the startup is now currently booming and they could not understand what is the system. Sometimes what they are doing is just getting the, instead of ODI or LRS scheme, to avoid that, they just ask to gift the parent company, US company shares. So, but RBI is still required. And why I want to discuss this in this platform is also that earlier used to have the big multinational used to have multinational companies. Now, due to the technology, every small city has many individual entrepreneur having across the country their company, either in US, Australia, Dubai, and they are running this different company and having a mutual transaction. Many times I've seen that they even ask them like, hey, where is your TP audit report? And they ask, no, we have not told my CA that I have a company in US or something. So these are the things which one has to be clear, and our chartered accountant fellow practicing, when they guide or something, then at least they should kick in these issues and understand to educate themselves and to the client to avoid any future difficulties. And same way, the intellectual property, many of small entrepreneurs have their own development in India. They are running successfully, and they launched in US, and they just opened a company and started to take money instead of India. They are taking money in the US and just could not understand like what is how to pay to Indian company. It's a sharing profit or it's a royalty, or what is this intellectual property is happened. So these are the real issues, and this address is also OECD BEPS project also in section 5. which recommends a modified nexus approach for IP regime. However, the understanding of these business model is a very crucial and decisive factor in IP. A careful consideration is required in deciding the nature of transaction, whether an income or expenses should be classified in what area. So, like as I mentioned, royalty or general income. The third, I would like to discuss about the emerging role of the CA. CA here, as our Atulji has mentioned about the fantastic 10 lakhs per student in scheme by ICAI research project and 50,000 for PhD students. This is a very nice beginning. And as far as the CA Institute is concerned, in the new final exam syllabus, they have already included in BEPS and OECD, but we as my age people or they don't even know what exactly is. So CAs can engage in themselves in providing this for consultation in FEMA, RBI, which I have seen many cases is not like in taking care by their client. So this is a big possibility where one can do the consulting and advisory services. I have seen that from Punjab also, one small CA company is doing the round tripping, compounding consulting in RBI Bombay from remotely due to the COVID and other reasons. So this is a very area role where CA can give, and US gaining an understanding of the US law and regulation is also one-stop solution to the entrepreneurs they can give from there. Basically, the most important but usually overlooked is spreading awareness. CA could change the scenario of here, spreading consciousness among the young fraternity. Also can be resolve the complex issue and step forward the betterment of the professional globally. Next, I think the time is very less, so I'll just go fast. This foreign couple of cross-country reporting, Foreign Accounts Tax Compliance Act. Here I would like to give one idea that about 25% of the foreign accounts the percentage is reduced after this FATCA Act implemented. So all 94 countries complying with the FATCA with Model 1 has agreement signed. So now, like you might have heard about the Swiss account or those accounts, so those are now reducing. So in 1 year it was reduced, and as mentioned in the video that $95 billion is already is recovered and many more to cover. That's a beginning. So be careful. Like now the Indian Income Tax Department is sharing data with the IRS and IRS sharing data with the Indian, and we have seen the notices received by the clients of income from other country. So these are the two FATCA financial reporting from the US side, which I have already covered in another seminar. So you can see that. But what is the international tax compliance for comparative chart? This I am just giving you the idea like how these are running. So in details of foreign assets in US, we are showing in Form 114 FinCEN and Form 8938 to the IRS. So same way, like we have to report to the RBI and report to the Income Tax Department in India. Same way here also we have to report FinCEN 114 form to Treasury Department of US and 8938 to the IRS. Same way, if you have a subsidiary branch, then you have to file these forms in US 5471. US person have a subsidiary in India, or I have a control finance corporation in India, then I have to report 5471. Or if a partnership, then I have to 8865 form I have to fill, and if I have branch, so disregarded entity, I have to file the 8858. Same way from FLA in India, we have to report. International related party transaction we have to show in 5472 here, and there in India is 3CEB. So these are the comparison, give the idea like how the system is working, and these 5471 as I mentioned, and Form 926 is another interesting, where the US transferer of property to a foreign corporation. So when you have acquired the if the US person owns more than 10% of the foreign corporation stood, then he has to report in this form what is going on there. Further, the US taxpayer who made a transfer like this 926, same way 5472 is where the many Indian clients, they have to file 5472 form who has a company in United States. So they have to report whatever the related party transactions is going on. Right now, I have not seen any action by the IRS, but they are just collecting. It's just reporting. There is no tax or anything. Just IRS wants to know who is owning this in US company, and the heavy penalty is there on these missing of these form, like $10,000 or $25,000 per instance. So if you have a 4 related party transaction, if you miss that, so you have to bear with $40,000 penalty. So it's very heavy. So one has to be very careful when you have a US or company from India. So this is the thing. One another thing I would like to discuss about India and US, that how the system works. Like I have seen in India, one of my relative is practicing CA in Jaipur, and he mentioned about the what is called auto. When you buy a car, then you have to get the 3 service free. So they have a litigation between the auto dealers and the government about the service tax non-paid properly. So in how the things are handled by in US, I have seen here, same way if you have a 3 services, so what they do is they charge like 3 services free, but you have to pay the tax. So they just collect the tax when you get the 3 service, or the company is paying that time. So another example I would like to share here is that when I buy a laptop and then suddenly 2 days sale came, so here is $1,000 laptop, if come down to $700. So when I started to pay, my calculate is that 700 plus 6% is sale tax, so I have to pay 742. But I received the bill of 760. Then what is this? So then I realized that they charge sale tax on $1,000, not the $700. So that way you can avoid the litigation, you can avoid, and then just I'm paying more $16, like then it's very small amount, and I have to pay, and I because I'm getting $300 benefit and just to pay the sale tax, it doesn't matter. So that's why these type of corrections we can do in India, or at least CA can suggest, and depend on the client how they want. But in crores of rupees, this litigation of service tax about the auto dealer was mentioned. So that's why is there. So again, the Deepak Jain story and these all, again, other than this, is blockchain theory is also, concept is very research oriented, so that can also be done. So thank you for, in closing, I would like to thank you research committee again for organizing this seminar and opportunity to address CA members and all other who attended this session. I hope this session leads you to doors of ample opportunity to research area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very useful deliberation, and I am sure the members who are listening, they must have understood the difference in Indian tax system and international tax system, especially while we are talking about the international or cross-border transactions. So now, without taking further time, I would like to introduce the next resource person, CA Radhana Agarwal. She is again CA and CPA both, and she is from a very small city of Haryana called Narnaul. And I was just reading one clipping also, newspaper clipping, which was there in 2010. But now, because there is a paucity of time, so I'll read her profile very quickly. She is experienced chartered accountant from India and certified public accountant from USA with more than 15 years of experience in taxation, auditing, executive management, strategic planning, corporate leadership, financial reporting, GAAP and SOX 404 compliance. Well traveled across the globe, currently running her own CPA practice in USA. She is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, member of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, member of the North Carolina Association of CPAs, CPA license from North Carolina State Board of Accountancy, and CPA license from Virginia Board of Accountancy. She is a former director of finance at University of Pennsylvania, served as chief financial officer at various mid and large size companies in full-time as well as in interim executive roles, lead and managed various financial and strategic functions for a wide range of companies and industries, provided board management and advisory services to many publicly traded companies, including tech and healthcare giants. Founding member of and past chairperson of a US chapter of ICAI, and one thing is very important in US also, she is the first lady chairperson, unlike our chairperson, our CA Kamisha Soniji, who was the first chairperson of CARC. Past chairperson of the advisory board of Veterinary Management Group, delivered lectures in many colleges in India and delivered various lectures abroad as well, awarded by Haryana government in Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan. So with these words, I would like to invite C. Aradhana Agrawal ji for her deliberation on the topic. Over to C. Aradhana Agrawal ji.
Thank you. Thank you, Atul ji. Thank you very much. Thank you, CA Anuj Goyal ji, Chairman, Research Committee, Kamisha Soni ji, Vice Chairperson, Dr. Amit Kumar Agarwal, Executive Member, Research Committee, my fellow speakers, Rakesh Jain ji, Praveen Jain ji, my fellow CA colleagues, my seniors, my juniors, and CA aspirants. Thank you so much for the opportunity and thank you for being here. So let me share my screen. Can you see? Is it visible?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Very
perfect. Thank you. So I know a lot of members, they want to pursue their career in research in finance and accounting, and they are looking for opportunities in United States and how they can collaborate with United States. So I will go over the processes and resources. But before that, let's do some housekeeping items. So one is disclaimer that we always put out to make sure that the information that we provide here is not intended to constitute legal advice. And all information that we provide here, any content, any materials, is only for general information purposes. So if you have any specific questions, please seek professional advice. So before I go over the processes and logistics and resources for the grants and scholarships and the research opportunities in United States, let me go over some of the general business facts about USA, what USA is, what kind of economy we have here. So for USA, the GDP in 2019, it had 21.43 trillion USD dollar GPD, which was 2.3% increase from 2018. Per capita income in 2019 was 65,280, which is the highest in the world, and it was a 3.63% increase from 2018. And then you must be wondering what kind of industries we have. What are the main resources for the economy? What are the main resources for the GDP? So the main industries that we have here is real estate, finance and insurance, of course, healthcare, information technology, logistics and transportation, energy, advertising and marketing. So they are the biggest pie of the GDP in United States. The population in 2019, it was 328 million. US is still the largest importer by value. $3.1 trillion USD import was made in 2019, which included products and services as well. It's still the largest economy in the world, and it has been the founding member of the United Nations, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and NATO. So you talk about finance, you talk about defense. USA still leads, is the leading country in the world. So now I know many of you are curious about what kind of research opportunities we have in USA and how you can pursue those opportunities. So in USA, of course, USA is a country of research and innovation. You talk about finance, you talk about pharmaceutical, you talk about healthcare, you talk about capital market. So there are tremendous opportunities out there for research. And the good news is that most of these research programs, they are 100% funded. And what it means is that you pursue your education, you get your research done, and the organization, either private foundation or the government or the university, pays 100% for it. And not only that they pay for your education, but they also pay a stipend to cover your cost of living. So you come to the United States, they cover your expenses to come to the United States, they pay for your education, and they pay for your living expenses. So what else can you ask for? If you are really looking to pursue a career in research, so this can be a good opportunity. So just to kind of give you a perspective, each year, about $46 billion in grants and scholarship money is awarded by either the U.S. Department of Education or the U.S. colleges and universities, or in a combination of both. So, and there is a difference. I know people use grants and scholarship interchangeably, but there is a difference in grants and scholarship. Grant is more a need-based grant. So basically you're saying that I need grant because I need funds to perform the research. Scholarship is merit-based. So grant is usually awarded by the government, either federal government or the state government. But the scholarship, it can come from anywhere. It can come from the corporate, it can come from private foundations, and it can come also from the government. And these are just some of the examples or the name of the universities that have 100% fully funded research programs. And of course, in order to apply for these programs or in order to apply to these universities, you would have to go and then do some research for the website. But I put it out there so that it gives you some basic idea of where to go when you're looking for the research opportunities. And these are the universities that have 100% funding, 100% funded programs in finance and accounting research. So the first two are the foundations is EFWA, which stands for the Educational Foundation for Women in Accounting, and which is exclusively for women. The second is IMA Research Foundation, which stands for Institute of Management Accountants. Then there is AICPA Scholarship for minority accounting students, and basically you have to prove that you are a minority student. You could be the female student, you could be, from race-wise, you can be a minority. Then there are multiple colleges, multiple universities that offer these programs. And the good part is that right now they offer these programs in isolation also. But even our institute, it can tie up with these universities to see if there are exchange students opportunities where ICAI can send their students to these universities for a limited time to perform research on whatever like those specific disciplines are. So there is a huge opportunity out there. And some of these universities, this is not an exclusive list at all. I just put it out there to give you an idea that these universities definitely have research programs in finance and accounting, and they are 100% funded by the university. So California State University is one, Florida International University, College of Business at Illinois State University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Stanford University, University of California, Berkeley, University of Pennsylvania. And I'm just going over this list kind of really fast because you can kind of, get the reference later on. So don't want to take too much time into that. University of Rochester, University of Southern California, University of Chicago, University of Texas at Dallas, University of Michigan, Boston, University of Arizona, the Ohio State University, and University of Iowa. So you can go to these, everything is available online these days, so you can go to the website of these universities and find the programs that are available out there. So now the next big question is, what are the general consideration when you apply for the research program? What are the basic steps? What do you need to do? So the very first thing is the deadline. There are deadlines for all these programs, and there is no one deadline because it varies from university to university. Although the most applications, they tend to be in the fall before you start the year. So basically, let's say in, I would say August or September of the previous year, if you want to start your program in the next year. Minimum requirements, again, they vary from university to university. So some would ask for the GRE score, and some may waive it. Some might ask for TOEFL, which is the test for the English as a second language. And of course, there would be this application form. And the main pieces or the main contents of the application are your personal essays and recommendation letters. So what those personal essays are, and people use it as personal statements also, some colleges would say personal statements, and basically you are on those personal statements, what you are telling the university that this is what your research interest is, this is what your career path is, and why do you want to pursue the research career? What is the fire behind it? So basically what happens, and I know, like, these days, but people sometimes, you try to be so professional that you hire professionals to write those essays. And I can tell you, having lived in USA and having gone through a lot of processes and a lot of admission process in the colleges, I know that the reviewers, they have gone through these drills many, many times in their career. Initially, when they applied for these research programs, and then after having reviewed all these applications, if you had someone else work on the essays, they will figure it out right away. So be yourself, be you, be very genuine. Doesn't matter if the English you wrote is not very complex. They are trying to see what your thought process is. It doesn't matter how good you wrote or how big sentences you wrote. The only thing for them, what it matters is really like how you are thinking, what kind of research goals you have, what have you done in your previous academic career or in your previous professional career to move to that path, and why at this stage, why do you want to pursue the research career? So be very genuine. It doesn't matter, as long as the reviewer sees that it's coming from your heart and this is what you can do. And of course, you have to set yourself apart there, because they get so many applications. And you do want to show them that you want to put attention to every single detail in the application. So they will have a lot of questions when you're writing these personal essays or personal statements. There would be some general questions. Why do you want to do it? Why is this university? So go and do some research. Find a lot of information before you write those personal statements. And when I say that you should always have someone review those essays or review those personal statements for you, just as an outsider, to see what kind of information they get from those essays. And then you can keep fine-tuning it. But I would always recommend that be very genuine when you write those essays. Never ever make up the experience that you never had. Be very genuine about what you did. And even if you are making a complete shift from one discipline to another, it's okay. Just explain it why you want to do it. So those personal statements, they are the key statements while reviewers, they evaluate your application. The recommendation letters are another thing. So they come from either your professors or your previous supervisors or current supervisors. And those are very important because if they are just tailor-made or very generic recommendation letters, the credibility is not going to be very high. So you do want to make sure that you take time, whoever you are asking to write the recommendation letters for you, they know what you're trying to do, what kind of research you're trying to pursue, so they can at least put some thoughts together, and then put some details on those recommendation letters. And then give them some time to work on it. So I would say create a profile, create a general profile for yourself when you are looking into applying for the research programs in USA. And when you are applying to the specific university, then go to their website, get specific information, and then tailor it towards what they are asking for. So now I know a lot of the biggest question is, okay, how would I sponsor my research? What kind of expenses would I have to incur? And as I said, the good part is that the most of these PhD packages, they come with your tuition and then stipend and also health insurance, which is very expensive in United States if you have to buy it on your own. And stipend can vary, and sometimes it may require that you would have to teach or you would have to be a teaching assistant. But I can give you a general idea about the stipend. So it runs from somewhere, I would say, about $30,000 to $50,000 a year. So basically, the university pays for your tuition for usually the program runs for 5 years. So university is paying your tuition for 5 years. They are also giving you about $30,000 to $50,000 per year to make up for the cost of living, and they are paying for your health insurance. So pretty much you're not paying anything out of your pocket, and then they will process your visa, like Rakesh ji mentioned, and then you will be able to complete your research study without paying anything out of your pocket. And these are some general research areas, and I will go over these quickly because I will go over some of the sub-research areas in details. So some of these research areas that you can pursue in US, the biggest one is capital market accounting, management accounting, public policy accounting research, fraud and forensic accounting research, research in digital accounting, taxation, financial reporting, responsibility accounting, key performance indicators of supply chain retail, foreign direct investment, as Praveenji was mentioning, financial planning and forecasting, impact of macroeconomic factors on money supply, and impact on shareholders' wealth in M&A episode. And just think about it. I'm just giving these topics from the US perspective, but the way we Indians are eager to know about what happens in US economy, the same happens in the US market, because US is also eager to know what happens in Indian market. So when you are looking into the research topic, you can always think of something where you can combine those two economies and work on it, because that would benefit both countries. And some of the consulting opportunities that our chartered accountants can have globally is, of course, big four accounting firms. They usually have their specific research departments where they need chartered accountants or CPAs to perform research on very technical issues like accounting standards, the international accounting standards, US accounting standards, the changes in the accounting standards. For example, the recognition of revenue, which is like a big hot topic in US these days. And just to kind of give you a general idea how the accounting bodies are set up here. So there is this board called FASB. This is the board that is responsible for setting the accounting standards. And then the SEC and PCAOB, they are responsible for the publicly traded companies. So FASB is the one that sets the standards, but the private companies, they don't have to follow SEC guidelines, which are specifically for the publicly traded companies. Same way, the PCAOB, which is the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, is responsible to provide oversight for the auditing for public companies to make sure that the investors' money is secure. Because after a few things happened about a decade ago, so the compliance and the regulations, they become stricter. So there are so many areas. Even the corporate in USA, they have some of the big companies, they will have their own research departments to do research just for their industry in accounting and finance area. So let's say if they have international business, so they might need someone who can work on the international taxation, who can do research on the international taxation to see how can someone provide savings in taxes but can still be compliant. And these are huge areas. When I say there are the full-time positions for these research areas in big companies, because they need someone to constantly do research, to constantly find what's new out there and how they can change their tax strategy to make sure that the company is being benefited by all the tax changes or the accounting law changes. So now I will get into a little bit about the very specific research areas that are very, very, very important in the context of US. So one is behavioral accounting. So we always talk about technical accounting, but think about the behavioral accounting, because we are assuming in technical accounting that everybody is making decisions very rationally. And everybody is trying to maximize their self-interest. And when we say self-interest, we just mean that by wealth, because we are not looking at anything else other than finance. And then we are also assuming that the information is easily available, is readily available. But think about the behavioral accounting, because all these three assumptions are not going to be true every time. We are human. And it's possible that we are not rational. Sometimes we make decisions emotionally. Sometimes the information is not available so readily. Sometimes the wealth or the finance is not the decision driver. So when one of these pieces is twisted, then the whole decision-making process can change. And that is a big area, because when we are doing research in accounting, we are always thinking about, okay, this is the law, this is the research, and this is what it is. But when we put everything together, how the human behavior impacts that accounting, because everything is not going to be decided logically or rationally. So that is a very, very big area that is evolving in United States. Second is outsourcing opportunities. And this is, again, I mean, with this COVID thing now, this has even gotten even more attention, because now people, even these webinars, we had never thought about doing these webinars online, even though all these portals, they were available, but COVID has brought the whole world together. So even the same thing with the outsourcing opportunities. This can be one of the research topics in terms of what opportunities this COVID has brought, and the same thing, what kind of challenges there are, because no opportunity comes without any challenges. But when there are challenges, it means there is a path to that, and we can overcome those challenges. So that can be another area of research. The third one is because people are outsourcing so much business to India, not just in accounting, but IT and even the call centers these days. And Indians are being prepared to communicate to the Western countries in a different way. So sometimes, there might be even the trainings for the accent. Sometimes there may be training for the language. Sometimes there may be training for the culture. So that may be another area where CAs can use their accounting skills, but at the same time, they can talk about what kind of skills Indians chartered accountants are being equipped with. The global economy post-COVID, definitely this is one of the major areas these days, because how the global economy is being impacted. And at the same time, pretty much every business, every industry, every person as an individual has been impacted. But the question is that some of the companies, they had to file for bankruptcy, and some of the companies could still survive. And what is the gap, or what is the reason why some companies could survive and some companies could not? And this could be another major area in how we can, if anything like this happens again, this pandemic, then how companies or how businesses can take preventive actions so that they don't get out, they don't go out of the business. Then there is, in accounting, we learn so much about on the technical knowledge. There are trainings, but when we come to the real world, the expectations are totally different, because even though we have in our mind all those debits and credits, we don't talk, when we're talking to people in the real world, the professional language is going to be a little bit different. The skill sets that you require are going to be a little bit different than what you have learned in the academic career. And how that transition take place, how that transition is going to work, and what are the gaps, and how we can fill that, because it's just not easy. Even if, let's say, we do a PhD, we do a master's in accounting, we do a CA or we do a CPA, when we come to the real world, there are so many more disciplines out there that you have to learn them on the job, and there is no formal education for that. And how you fill those gaps, how do you develop those soft skills when you are working with people and learning it from those humans? So those are very important, and those can be one of the research areas for chartered accountants, because in US, people are very much focusing on these soft skills. Okay, accounting skills are important, technical skills are important, but how do we combine all those skills with the soft skills? Same thing, transition from academic language to professional language that I just covered, because when we come out of the academia, the way we talk, the way we communicate is just so different. But when we are stepping into the actual business world, our communication, it gets a little bit different, because we have to fine tune it and how it works and what we can do again to fill those gaps, even when we are getting the training in the academic career. So those are another areas that research can focus on. Another thing is blockchain, which is very, very which is getting a lot of attention in US. So the blockchain has the potential to enhance the accounting function by reducing the cost of maintaining ledger. And actually what it does, really, the main feature of this is that once the transaction is entered into a blockchain, it's called block, it can never be deleted. So there is always a trail there. So the reliability level is much higher, and you don't have to involve so many middle parties to work on it. So people are getting more and more into, the concept is still evolving. Companies are trying to adopt that, but it's still not 100, companies have still not adopted it 100%, because there are still so many research areas in there. But this is one of the very hot topics right now, how this blockchain will shape the future of accounting, because it reduces the cost, it decentralizes the control, and people actually who are doing the transactions, they have more control rather than having one person or, a few executives having the control. The future of artificial intelligence, again, that's a one big topic, again, in US, and I'm sure in India too. So what is artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence uses computer system to perform tasks that typically would be done by a human being. So just think about like translation, visual, speech recognition. So what humans used to do, now these artificial intelligence software, they can do that. And how it will shape the accounting in future is only time will tell. But the only thing I can tell, of course, some of the junior accountants staff's job, they can be eliminated, because some of those, or maybe most of the functions that a junior accountant do these artificial intelligence software may be able to do it. But think about the chartered accountant or the CPAs or somebody who has gotten a PhD degree, because they have that special skill that this artificial intelligence cannot replace. So keep that in mind, and that can be a big area for research, that even though, yeah, it will change the way we do things, it will change the way we perform accounting, it will bring more efficiencies in how we do it. But the good side of it is it's programmed and it does the same thing over and over. But that's the downside of it too, because if things change, it's still doing the same thing. It's not capable of thinking like a human brain. And that is one of the areas when people talk about artificial intelligence. Yes, it's useful, but at this point it doesn't look like that it can ever replace the human intelligence. So the only thing I would say in that scenario, what we need to step up to is we need to enhance our knowledge base, because if we're just doing the basic accounting, we're doing the basic auditing, all these software can replace that. So we have to enhance and we have to gain those special knowledge and skill where we can tell that this artificial intelligence cannot beat the chartered accountants. And now smartphones is another area of research. So these days we can do business from the smartphone, like the whole business. Even clients, they can access the whole accounting system in real time through cell phones. The cell phone you can buy anything, you can sell anything across the globe. You can pretty much all business activities, cell phones are capable of doing the whole business for you. And how it's changing, you don't have to even open a laptop these days. So many times I just do everything on my phone, because all the software, they are available, all the apps are available on the cell phones. So how this is going to change the accounting? So these days, let's say if we have client and we provide the accounting and audit services to them, they can get the real-time data in their system, and we can control what kind of access they would have. So let's say we give them only read-only access. So they cannot change the data, but they can access the data from anywhere in the world, anytime, anywhere. So it's changing. Do you see how the dynamics are changing? We used to, even before computer era, we used to do everything on paper. Then computer came, and now it's like everything is in your hands. So how that is going to change accounting, that may be another area of research that would be really, really helpful for both countries. Again, the next topic which I touched upon a little bit, are computers taking the accountant's job? Yes and no. Yes, for the junior level accounting work, yes, they will replace it at some point, because the technology is evolving and is getting so advanced these days. But again, you have to develop very, very specific skills. And again, no matter how how smart these software are, in the near future, and I'm not the expert on that research, but it doesn't look like that it can ever replace the human brain, because all these software, they are programmable. If you change something, it will change everything. And again, human would have to intervene to fix it. So you can rely on this software, but again, human would have to intervene to make sure that these software, they're running the way they should be running. Cryptocurrency is another thing that is kind of taking shape in US, and this is again kind of related to a little bit blockchain. So cryptocurrency is a digital asset designed to work as a medium of exchange. And in US, they have already started working on cryptocurrency. Even they did the taxes last year for cryptocurrency transactions. So this is another major area that would be very hot, like in the coming years, because people have started investing in cryptocurrency. So the basic theory behind is that they do not want the banks to hold their money, and basically they are exchanging it directly through the blockchain software, because that way they know there is reliability, the transaction can never be deleted, and there is an audit trail. So they feel it's much secure, and the money is not in somebody else's hand. and then it can it's all computerized, and it can never be forfeited. So people are moving a lot towards cryptocurrency. So that is another area of research that our people who are interested in research, they can look into it. And this is my favorite, and I know we are running out of time, but I just wanted to show you how the world is changing and how the big fours are changing or shifting from their core functions to the advisory functions or to the consulting role. So all big fours, and I took the information from 2019. So you will see for PwC, so you will see their advisory services. They had about $14.3 billion from advisory. KPMG had about $12 billion in advisory. E&Y had about $10.2 billion, and Deloitte, out of 46.2 total revenue, had $22.5 billion in consulting. Because these days the role of accountant has shifted from just being a core accountant or an auditor to being a strategic advisor or to being a strategic partner of the firm. So you are working with them as they are growing. You're working with them, you're consulting with them, you are advising them. And like Boston, BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and then McKinsey, they used to have monopoly over the consulting functions, but now like that monopoly, those are not the days anymore. That monopoly is gone because the information is available so much online, and you just need to do the research online. Of course, you have to be willing to do the research, but you can provide the same services what McKinsey does, what BCG does, what PwC does, what KPMG does, what Deloitte does, what E&Y does. So now my question is that then why can't we form a conglomerate, and then we can bring all these expertise together and we can provide those services? Why can India not have the big fifth accounting firm? Because we work so hard, we have all the technical knowledge, we are the team players, we work in big fours. Then what is stopping us from being that big fifth accounting firm? Because even for those big accounting firms, they were not formed in a day. They did not become big four in day one. It took them many, many years. So somebody has to start from somewhere, and I think that can be another area of research to see why we are not one of these four accounting firms, and why we cannot be, and if we can, what we need to do. Because research is not only about writing the papers or defending the dissertation and getting a PhD degree, right? Research is all about research is all about digging deep into the topic, finding the problems, what the issues are, finding the solutions, and paving the path to the implementation. That's what the research is about, so that the society can benefit from the research. So
Rajni ji, I think we have to conclude. We are getting
this is just the final slide. Yeah. So the biggest. So now my question to everybody who is watching is like, this is one of the biggest research areas. Why can't we be the big fifth accounting firm, and what we can do to be there? And with that, I will conclude and thank you thank you for the opportunity, and I hand it over to Atulji. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Aradhana Agrawal ji. Atul ji, 1 minute. Thank you very much, Aradhana ji. And I think, first of all, I will request our Honorable Vice Chairperson, Kemisa Soni ji, for her final words and vote of thanks. And then I will request all the three resource persons for some of the questions which we are having from the viewers. First of all, I will request Kemisa Soni ma'am for her final words and vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Chairman sir. My greetings to all of you, Honorable Chairman, Research Committee, speakers, moderator, and my dear professional colleagues. I'm honored to present the vote of thanks on this webinar on the emerging role of CAs in US, paving the path of research study on evolving role of professional accountants globally. So first I would like to just compliment all our panelists and speakers regarding that. CA Rakesh Jain ji, and he has covered like visa, immigrations, other compliance requirements related to USA, and then Praveen Jain ji, he has also covered related to taxations, recommendation of OECD BPS action plan, and about he has also suggested one excellent suggestions related to that how we can minimize litigations related issues in our tax mechanism. So definitely Praveenji we will send, because you are also from CIRC Central Region and I am also from Central Region. Just I would recognize that thing, you have given good suggestions. So definitely through our relevant committee we will send representation to a government and ministry regarding this, because of so many time consumes related to that type of litigations matter. And for Aradhna Agrawal ji, I would say that she has covered in excellent manner related to research mechanism and informations related to particular research projects and about the difference grant and scholarship. Then she has also mentioned one very important thing. I would say that key ideas about that related to genuineness, that is very important in case of if any member or student of our CA communities applying for that research area. So that is also in very excellent manner. She has covered everything, and she has also covered research areas and specific research areas. So many areas are more or less same in Indian context also, but some advanced also research related requirements are there. So here I would also suggest Chairman sir, from the deliberation of our all speakers, we can also take sort of mentorship programs and guide for the guiding of our student and members who want to research in US according to what we have limited knowledge and information. So through mentorship program also we can start these projects at our research committee also. So finally I would like to begin by thanking our first research committee chairman Anuj Goyal ji, who has graced us with his words of wisdom. Thank you very much, sir. And on behalf of Research Committee of ICAI, I would like to thank our session speaker, CA Rakesh Jain ji, CA Praveen Jain ji, and CA Aradhna Agrawal ji for taking their precious time out and speaking here with us. And it has been a really knowledgeable session for all of us viewing this webinar. So thank you for sparing your valuable knowledge. And I would also like to thank our session moderator, C. Atul Agarwal ji, who has done a wonderful job in today's session. So thank you so much for your valuable time, Atul ji. And also thanks to Amit Agrawal and entire team for hosting and organizing this very different topic webinar. And lastly, I would like to thank our viewers and wish all of you with health and safety in such trying times. Stay home, stay happy, stay safe, and have a good day. Thank you. Over to our chairman, Anuj Goyal ji.
Thank you. Thank you, Kemisa Soni ma'am, our honorable vice chairperson, for her final words and vote of thanks. Friends, we are running out of time, so quickly we will take 5-6 questions. Rakesh ji, Praveen ji, Aradhna ji, some questions are there. I am quickly reading those questions. I am Indian CA, qualified in 1983 and had practiced and worked in industry for 3 decades. Now back to practice and hold COP and FCA. Is there a way of getting recognized under CPA or any other equivalent in USA and Canada? What is the procedure? Maybe this is the core discussion today, but just posting my question and interest in the session. So
yeah, I can take
Rakesh,
it
you will
up.
answer? Yeah.
I can take it up. It is related to immigration.
Yes.
The first of all,
Yes.
let me tell you, I think currently we do not have any reciprocal arrangement with the ICAI, that is the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So my answer in that context will be I forgot the name of the gentleman who sent this question, that I'm really sorry that currently you cannot get any advantage if you're looking for some exemption in some papers or in some courses. So if you have to come here to the United States, first of all, you need to have the immigration visa, that is non-immigrant visa, either the H1, or if you have to come on the student visa, then you have to be here. And then you have to do the CPA, because CA course as such is not recognized here. So it is going through all the 9 yards again. But having said that, since you have done the CA in India, which in my opinion, with all due respect to CPA, is a much tougher course than CPA. And since you have done the CA, so you will be much benefited out of your past studies. So it will be a cakewalk for you to do the CPA here. So in case if you're looking for the building up a career in CPA here, so you will have to go through the CPA exam. The CA degree alone will not work with you here. But for Canada, I'm not the right person to comment on that. You have to look for somebody who is living in Canada and very much familiar with the laws over there.
Thank you. Some queries related to CP hours. Friends, it is an unstructured CP program and there is no need of formally registering yourself, and you have to go to the CP portal when you have to enter the details in the unstructured CP hours which you have learned. So this is about the CP hours. One question from Rakesh Jain ji, I think, can Indian CA practice as an auditor in USA? I think he has to do CPA, then only he can do the test function.
Yes, you're right. As CA, you cannot do that because here, as per the law of the land, you need to have the CPA degree to do any attest functions.
Yeah. And do Indian FCA holding COP qualified to get a certification to work and practice in USA and Canada? I think the same thing. You have to get the CPA qualification, then you can do the attest function in the United States of America. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct, sir.
But here I would like to mention that
Yes.
CA Institute, I don't think allow to hold a CPA license also together jointly. So the institute should work on it.
Sir, see, see, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, as such, do allow even to hold the COP as company secretary, even to hold COP as cost accountant, even to hold COP as an advocate. But the Institute of Company Secretary of India is not allowing. The Cost Accountant Institute is not allowing. Bar Council of India is not allowing. So, but as far as the CPA is concerned, I don't think that as a chartered accountant also you can practice, because you are supposed to be in full time. When you are practicing as a certified public accountant, then you are not a full-time practicing chartered accountant as the member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. This is the only thing. But you can very well be the partner in a chartered accountant firm. It is allowed. You can very well be a partner in chartered accountant firm. But as you will not be full-time practicing chartered accountants, so you as such will be in part-time practice. But if there would be any representation, we will certainly consider that thing. Amit ji, आप जरा इसको note कर लीजिएगा. Please note it down. We can discuss with the secretary, Rakesh Sehgal ji.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then I want to know, as a chartered accountant, how do I become part of research topics, because I am interested in accounting research. Please guide. We are having all the details on our website, and Dr. Amit Agrawal ji will be individually talking to this fellow also, and will be communicating all the details about the research project scheme as well as the doctoral scheme. Can I get some advice for CAs looking for opportunities in UK as well as scope of professional opportunity? I think we are discussing about USA. We will not be in a position to guide about UK. Can anybody guide about UK? No? Yeah.
I don't think I know
So
anything
individually,
about UK. So.
yeah, individually, Dr.
We are
Amit
not
Agrawal ji can guide. Yeah.
Chairman sir, on
Later on, I think
26th Chairman sir, on 26th of August, we have a webinar for Australia, and a series of webinars we can have for this European.
we will have one for UK, one separately for Canada also. Then can BCom and LLB can fulfill the 4-year criteria? Yes, I think it has already been discussed.
Yes,
that after
that can be
BCom,
done,
if you are
because
going for law, it will fulfill.
Yes.
Can we do practice in USA? Can you get visa? Yes, we can practice in USA if we are having the CPA. Lot number of chartered accountants who are in India are having the CPA qualification. So if you are having the CPA qualification, you can practice in USA. Can you get visa? I think we have already discussed about the visa formalities by the Rakesh Jain ji. Rakesh ji, you want to say something?
No, this is all about that you need to have the visa to come to US, and about the CPA practice, not only the visa, you need to have the residential status also. You have to fulfill the criteria of getting the CPA license, which varies from state to state. So you have to look into both the aspects. Just visa alone will not work.
And one more question, can you please name any such agency for the visa and other things? I don't think there is any specific name which we can.
So there is no agency. If you are looking for the job here, you have to look for the willing sponsor who can go for your H1 visa. Only then you can come here as non-immigrant, unless you want to come as on F1 visa, which is a student visa, or J1, that is the exchange visa. As Aradhana ji has mentioned it out, for the research scholars, that visa is given.
Yeah. Sir, is it necessary to complete CPA course to work in US? Or CA qualification alone from ICAI is sufficient to get employment? So there is no restriction, there is no necessity that we have to have the CPA qualification. Only when we want to be in practice, we want to do the test function, then only the CPA is necessary. But of course, the CPA can be an added qualification to get the employment in USA. Having planned to work and live in US for 2-3 years, I think Rakesh Jain ji has already clarified about this. How one can go to the USA.
Yes, if you are on H1 visa, you can work here for 3 years, because it is given for 3 years at a single stretch, which can be renewed for a similar period again. But it is all based on the employer's willingness to go for that one. And secondly, if you want to go for the green card, then you have to get it processed during that time. And if your visa application for green card is pending, then you can go for the indefinite number of years renewal.
Yeah, if any girl married H1B holder, can she work in USA without F1 or L1? She has to study further course to get the job in USA.
If somebody gets married to an H1 holder, then the visa which that person or spouse gets is H4. That is a dependent visa, which is not allowed to work for unless the H4 has got the EAD, that is the Employment Authorization Document. So there is a different criteria for that. I would suggest that you go online and Google it out for finding it out what is the process for getting the H4 EAD. Unless that authorization card is there, H4 visa is completely dependent visa, which doesn't allow you to work anywhere legally.
Right. Sir, the main, right. Why RBI is governing the foreign company promoted by Indians? What is the real purpose in the back of mind? I don't think it is relevant to today's program. Can anyone answer?
I don't know, which I can see is about basically for getting the foreign exchange, but this is not the right forum to answer this question.
Right. Rakesh sir provided an overview for filing PR in the USA. My question is one step before the PR. How can Indian CA apply for jobs in the USA or start his career in the USA? Please guide.
You have to look for the willing sponsor who can go for your H1 visa, because it is completely employer based. Only then you can come here on H1 visa. And just to give you a little information on that one, the fiscal year for H1 visa that starts from October to September, but the application for H1 is entertained by USCIS on 1st or 2nd of April, and because of the overwhelming response during the first 1, 2 or 3 days, the complete quota of 65,000 H1 visas which are allowed, that is fulfilled, and after that the computer generated system picks up the successful candidates list on random basis. So you may be lucky or may not be lucky to get your H1 visa, even if you got the willing sponsor and refiled your application within the stipulated time. And even if when you got the visa, you cannot work it until 1st of October, because that is the start of the period when you are legally authorized to work in. So this is a long road for that one.
Yeah, here I would like to add 2 options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 options. There is a EB5. If they have a money, if CA has a money, then he can certainly invest here to about 1.9 million or something, and then he can come here. And EB5 visa, as well as in L1 also, if he can open a branch here, and then and the whole process is like a same H1, but it's a different, then he can explore that possibility also.
And I think 2-3 questions very quickly. Dear Praveen Jain sir, will you guide the source for learning basic understanding of US laws? Will you guide the source for learning basic understanding of US laws? Praveen ji.
Yeah, US laws is like I believe that he is referring about the income tax. So here I would like to say that IRS has published a very nice publication and very easy to understand, very nice language, and one should learn also how to write a like explanation in the tax laws. So they can refer the irs.gov website and can see all the publication is available, and it's relevant, and it's available in India also. It's on the net.
Recently, FCA's USA agency to evaluate eligibility for writing CPA exam mentioned that ICAI exams are not equivalent to the university courses in US according to the information provided by ICAI. This results as a hurdle for its CPA aspirant members of ICAI to move further. Can you please confirm whether any discussion is going on between AICPA and ICAI in this regard, or mutual recognition? I think we have already discussed that as of now there is no mutual recognition, and one is to have the graduation plus post qualification after graduation, whether LLB or master's degree, then only one can go for CPA. Am I correct, sir?
Right, but here actually there is a credential and NASBA credential. There is a, so it's better to go through NASBA, and there are other agencies also, and they will guide you which state is allowed, and they give the, like they ask sealed envelope all the CA by the CA Institute and the universities, and I covered in the NIRC website, so you can go from there. Webinar in NIRC.
I am a CA and cleared CFE also. The core profile, I worked in SOX, internal auditing, IT audits and few investigations. I want to enhance my skills as auditor and investigator. Could you please guide me to understand how can I gain international exposure in the USA and enhance my skills?
I suggest that you need to just get tied out with some CPA firm in US and work it as the outsourcing of the business, get some work from that US company and do it in India if you are not having the visa. And if you are having the visa, then the best option will be to visit here also and talk to the person face to face and get some work and stay here for some time and work here as well.
Great. Then what is the minimum eligibility to apply for research in the USA? I think already covered by Aradhana ji. Anything?
The minimum eligibility depends because it varies from university to university. Some universities, they would ask for master's program, and master's program in USA is or especially the undergrad program, the bachelor's program, the way Rakesh ji and Praveen ji mentioned, that's a 3-year versus 4 years program. So you have to fill that gap. So you would have to get your credentials evaluated by one of the certified agencies, which are 3 agencies out here in United States. But each university has different requirements, and you would have to go to the university's website to see what their requirements are. So there is no standard requirements that we can say these are the standard requirements for the research programs.
And one more question from Aradhana ji, whether these scholarships are penned to all, I mean Indian students too, but it is available to Indian students also, no?
Yes, because those are the ones that I covered. There are so many more research grants that are available only to US citizens or US permanent residents. I did not cover any of those. So the ones that I cover, they are available to anybody in the whole world and anyone in India. So anybody can apply for those grants.
And one query related to research, I think Dr. Amit will can answer. How shall I select specific topics based on need of research? Number 2, how shall I get resources, data regularly for research paper? 3, to whom shall report discuss regularly for day-to-day development?
Rich queries about research schemes of ICAI, we can very well guide the member. And for this constant, so he need a research guide. For timing or for few of the things, I myself can guide him, or I can suggest few of the academicians who are chartered accountant or other academicians who can guide them. But for a regular nature of work, definitely he is required a supervisor or an academician who is willing to supervise his work.
As we are discussing among our own members, one very interesting query, not related to today's program. It seems very difficult to charge advisory fee in Tier 2 cities. ICAI Research Committee must pay attention and suggest the members. It will be highly appreciated. So, Dr. Amit Agrawal ji, you have to do the research on this, how to get the best of the advisory fees in Tier 2 cities. And as we are having 3 very prominent chartered accountants practicing in USA, they can very well tell our viewers how they can charge the advisory fees in the smaller cities also.
For ICAI point of view, there is a minimum scale of fees already recommended by ICAI. However, there is a need of further research, and we can very well design some more logical fee structure. And advisories more depend on your caliber, how you demonstrate yourself, how you present yourself. If you are a big name, or if you are a knowledgeable person and known to everyone, whether you are sitting at the USA or whether you are sitting in a very small town in Narnaul, also can give advice. Nowadays it's become very easy. Madam, I'm close to your age. I'm from Patan.
Where are you from?
I'm from Raipur, Patan. It's 50 kilometers from your area.
Oh, really? That's nice.
Yeah.
Small town.
All are 3 opportunities. All are there opportunities for SOX controls, testing for US listed companies for CA in India on offshore, outsource basis, as I am an experienced CA in SOX controls testing.
So yes, they can do it on the back end, but of course they cannot sign the reports unless they have the CPA license from the United States. But on the back end, they can definitely help in SOX texting.
Yeah. Can we have some US tax returns outsourced in India? Kindly elaborate.
You can, but it's not as easy as people think, because the confidentiality and data privacy and security is one of the biggest concerns in United States. And people are not willing to compromise the data security just to save a few dollars. So even though I know some work is already being outsourced, but the data privacy is still in question. So even though technically, yes, it can be done, but there are so many practical challenges when people try to get work for the income tax returns, because the sensitive information is outsourced from US to India, and people, they would have to make sure that the information would be kept confidential.
As explained by Aradhana ma'am about new emerging technologies, can she tell us the platform, how we can learn this and excel in theoretical and practical knowledge?
So for the technical knowledge, it depends, because it keeps evolving every day. So there is no one particular platform that we can say that people can go there. So you have to keep yourself updated by looking at the news and looking at what's going on in the world. And then whatever the technology, whatever you come across, you can go to so many different social platforms. Let's say for YouTube, I mean, if you're looking into, let's say, just like a general software, QuickBooks, Audit File, or Xero, you can just go there and then we run some YouTube videos to see how it functions. But there is no, unless you want to get some specific trainings that you are interested in, if you know that this is the particular software that you want the training in, you can get those trainings, and those will be available online pretty much. But again, there is no one particular platform. You should read, I would say, Journal of Accountancy. So that would usually list what's going on in the accounting and finance world, and you would know what the new technologies are evolving, and you can take a step from there.
Yeah. And one more question. Will a CA who is 60 years old have any chances of doing research in USA? Aradhana ji.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So in USA, the good part is that age is not a restriction for anything. In fact, people can't even ask for their age. So even, let's say, if somebody is 60 or 70 years old and they come, so nobody can ask. Even their PhD advisor can never ask them what their age is, because that is against the law, because that's an age discrimination, and there are legal consequences for that. The company or the universities, they can be sued for that. So yes, absolutely yes, they can pursue a career in research in United States.
Yeah, like Institute of CA also should consider.
Yeah.
The institute also should consider actually the 40 years of age. That should not be there in research. That's really like people like me, if I want to do.
It is not like that. It is only for the PhD purpose. It is only for the PhD purpose. Otherwise, we are having.
No, I understand that, but why the PhD purpose? Like I have seen
it is for full time. Sir, what is,
CA.
Praveenji, one is to be there for full-time basis, and we want to see that the chartered accountants at very young age who are doing the PhD can contribute for the profession, for the nation for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, like that. So that was the
Yeah, I
mindset of the
understand
council.
that.
But we will certainly consider. Amitji want to say something.
Yes,
Chairman, sir,
please.
we have two kind of the research schemes. One is for our experienced members and one for our youngest member. As rightly said by our chairman, that's a doctoral scheme is for up to age of 40 years. Sir, you would appreciate a member who is at 50 years of age, having family liabilities, not USA. In India, there are a different kind of a structure. A person with 50 years of age can't spend 3 full years in a university for studying purpose or for a petty amount of 50,000 rupees. But a youngster of age of below 40 years, even 40 years is also a considerable age in India. So 50,000 is okay for a young chartered accountant. But so that's why we kept, because this is a issue many of the members raised, that why you kept 40 years and why this scheme is not open for research project scheme is not open for members having 0 year of experience. So it's a matter of debate, sir. So we keep both the scheme together. So one who want to pursue research for academic purpose should go for doctoral scheme up to age of 40 years, and who has already gained a certain amount of experience or expertise in a particular subject can go to the research project. We have not bounded anyone.
But Amitji, just I would like to say, because we should appreciate this thing, because we should consider this is depend on that particular person ki he has or she has time, or they have no that type of convenience. So that is the depend on person individual. But we should give opportunity to everybody. So we should take up this concern also. I think this is my opinion.
Yeah, like legally from US point of view, it's not allowed, and somebody will sue. Like if the same thing is happened in US, somebody will sue intentionally.
India is
Absolutely.
very
Discrimination should not be there. Yeah. I think Chairman Anuji is not there. I think.
By the time the chairman joined, I have one discussion with Anuradha ma'am, because she was discussing about the exchange program. So ma'am, in ICAI, Vice Chairperson madam is there. We have launched another scheme, that is the International Collaboration Program. So any institution which want to collaborate with the Institute of Chartered Accountant, we have that scheme with us. I said with Atul Agrawalji also, he is tying up with one of the university. And I will give you a brief that under this scheme, what we have proposed, that both the institution will join hand together, and any expenditure which is required to be borne by the ICAI will take care of his researcher expenditure, travel, any research expense or anything. And other institution, if they so it will be a mutual reconciliation between the two of the institution, and both the institution will take care of their expenditure, and data sharing can be done, and a team of both the institution can work together. So, and exchange is also there. Some working paper can be done, some program can also be organized, some sort of publication or some collaborative thing can be done. We are open for that. Council has already approved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
it's
think that's a
possible,
very good initiative, because that would give opportunity to both countries to exchange students and to learn about the other the laws in other country. Because in US we always think that we Indians we are curious to learn more about US, but US is also now the dynamics are changing, the business dynamics are changing. India is growing at such an exponential growth, and people are so curious. Even businesses are looking into the opportunities to outsource businesses to India, and this is going to be a good platform for both the countries if we can come up with some mutual recognitions.
Here I also would like to add, in another webinar I mentioned that CA Institute should also include an optional CA final paper about the US taxation. That will be a wonderful. So they can say that he has already have an education of US tax law when he was doing the CA, and then he can approach to the university here and then get recognition of that. And
Thank
for
you,
exchange
Praveenji.
program,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Praveen ji, and Amit ji. We can send the suggestions to Board of Study regarding that, because we have that elective paper mechanism also. So we can add this subject also, this topic also, because of we have already considered IFRS international taxation. In that manner, we can add this also.
Amisha ma'am, chairman is not there, so I think question is already has taken up.
Sir, only one question from my side, if you allow.
Yes, sir, please.
As a member, Aradhana ji was talking about PCAOB.
As a member or as a student, you are always Sikasa chairman. In both, 2 times in Noida and 1 time in CAC.
As a student, I would like to ask one question. Aradhana ji was talking about PCAOB, and one member was asking about this experience over fraud and investigation and all. So, if I am correct, then PCAOB is also doing empanelment of Indian Chartered Accountancy firm, where they are doing some, giving some work to Indian Chartered Accountants for giving their findings maybe on frauds or investigation kind of. So, is it true, or there is something else behind this?
So it depends. If the company is a publicly traded company, then definitely whoever is responsible for performing the function is going to be under the context or under the umbrella of PCAOB. So yes. So depending on, because this is the rules have gotten much stricter after a couple of incidents happened in like big, Enron and all that. So this board emerged, and then they are taking stricter actions in terms of so it doesn't matter. So if it's a publicly traded companies, then if the work is being outsourced, then if it's done by Indian Chartered Accountants, then they will be subject to the impairment.
Now the important is, like, while we go for a registration under this PCAOB, they are asking for the information of the audits done by that chartered accountancy firm in India, and they are asking for their credentials also, credentials of their Indian clients. So on the one hand, we are talking about the data security for the US data, but on the other hand, the chartered accountant firm is required to disclose the data of his own client. So, is it not a kind of bias arrangement?
So, I am not sure, like, are they asking for the data for the client that they are investigating?
Yes,
or are
yes. No, they are asking for your experience, and then in that experience, they are asking for the financial data also of your client, how much fees you have charged from the client, like what activity is into. So while we are talking about a turnover of a client, or while we are talking about how much fees we have charged from that particular client, then again what I believe is something like we are disclosing the information of our client which we need not to disclose.
So I am not sure about that, in what context. So if they're looking for like what kind of experience you have in providing those services, and then they're asking the details behind what you have done for the other clients, I mean, I don't know how specific information they're asking in terms of give me the client name and how much you charge, or in general, okay, how many clients have you worked with and how much total fee you have charged, because that's more like a general question on the experience versus asking give me the details of the company and the fee that you charged each individual companies. I'm not sure about that, how the information is being asked, but yeah, I'm not privy to that.
Okay. I'll share information with you what all they are asking for. But at the same time, I request all the resource persons present here, if they can share their PPT, then I request Dr. Amit Agarwal to kindly put the PPT on the institute's portal, so that any member who would like to download, they can download and they can utilize that PPT later on.
Sure, we will send it.
Ma'am, Kamisha ma'am, आप हैं यहाँ पर? Yes, sir.
Yeah,
कुछ कह रहे थे.
I'm here.
Actually, I would like to tell one nice thing I have seen recently. We have learned the auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. But our Honorable President Amarjit Chopra has just mentioned, if you are not a bloodhound, auditor at least need to be a barking dog. So I think you should work on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And research committee should start to look into that.
Yes. At least
So, ma'am,
disclosure requirement. Yeah.
so ma'am,
Yeah.
should
Thank
we
you.
conclude?
Yeah, Tulji. Please carry on. Yeah.
Amit ji,
Yes, sir.
can we conclude, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
It's already 7:40, sir.
Yeah, sure.
So,
It
sir,
shows
thank you.
the importance of the topic.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for
All
joining
right.
us.
Radha ji, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, viewers, for attending this and giving us the opportunity to present this presentation. Thank you.
We will,
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.